Welcome back again, everyone. It's another edition of Interventions and Detentions. I'm Brad.
And I'm Kylie.
And we are at episode 114.
Woohoo! And just hit our 1,000th follower.
Check that out. We made it to 1,000 downloads of our podcast.
Thank you all
Thank
for
you,
all
listeners.
the downloads and for listening.
We appreciate you tuning in each week. We hope you find this insightful and entertaining. We have a very special guest with us this week, and our topic is going to be school transportation. We have Amy Young with us. Amy is fairly new to Central Noble Community Schools, and we're going to have Amy tell us a little bit about herself in just a second. But first, Kylie, you want to share any of your favorite memories from riding the bus?
Favorite memories from riding the bus? Well, I'm going to be honest. I wasn't a bus rider. I was a car pickup.
Spoiled brat.
100%. Car pickup only. But
what about field trips?
Barely rode the school bus. Actually, sometimes my mom would drive me on field trips. I'm not lying.
It's interesting.
Yeah. So, my first experience with a bus, I'll tell you this because this is kind of cool. My first experience ever on a bus, my dad's company that he worked with or for put wheelchair lifts in school buses. And so one afternoon when I was in preschool, I came home from preschool and he brought a school bus, drove it over, and let me get on it by myself so that I wouldn't cry.
So you sat on a bus.
I think he drove me around the block.
So that you wouldn't cry because you were never going to ride one again.
Yeah.
But you cried every day of school.
Wow.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. I listened.
Someone's been listening to the pod.
I did my homework.
Nice. My story, I already shared this with Kylie earlier today, but probably around first grade, I had an older brother. We rode the bus together for a few years. And literally, probably within 2 minutes of getting picked up, I had to go potty. I had to go pee-pee.
Of course. How old were you?
First grade, so 6,
Pretty little.
7 years old.
Old enough to know, though.
Yeah. That's
Told
for
my
sure.
bus driver, old Bob Reed, farmer, Bob Reed,
Oh, yeah.
manual shift bus.
Of course.
Hey, I got to go to the bathroom. I'm thinking maybe he'll take me back home. No. Pulled the bus off to the side of the road, opened the door, said, go ahead. And there's Brad trying to take a pee in front of, 60 kids, most of them older than me. I don't think I did go.
I was
I'm
gonna
sure
say, did
none
you
of them
actually-
would remember that.
I don't know.
Brad remembers it, though.
I'm scarred
see.
for life, but
Yeah.
If
It was so
anybody out there is
interesting.
listening and you were on the bus with Brad Taggart at that time, give us a write in, and we'd like to hear your experience from that moment.
I wonder if
Please
my brother remembers that. I'll have to ask him sometime
Please
and
do.
see if he does. But
bring him on the pod if he does, because I need to hear all about that.
Amy, before you tell us about yourself, what about your first ever bus ride? What was it like?
So you guys sent me some questions and I read over them and I thought about it. Like, I honestly don't think that I even rode the bus until I was like in like third grade.
Oh,
okay, but here's the
so-
thing. So my bus drivers were either my grandma, my grandpa, my mom, or my aunt.
You're a family of bus drivers?
Yeah, 3 generations deep.
Wow, okay.
So I rode my grandma and grandpa's bus. They were not like, I wasn't assigned to their bus. I just rode their bus because my mom drove and they went to my school. So if like it was too early or something, I rode on the bus with them. But probably one of my favorite memories just riding. My grandpa had a bus. He drove for East Allen County Schools. He drove at Leo High School. And we would come through, and then he drove to Harlan Elementary, which was where I started school.
Yep.
And we drove through Graybill. He had like 10 or 15 minutes of like a layover in between. We would stop at Graybill Inn every morning, and they had like these little bar stools around the counter. And there was one that was just slightly shorter, and like all the old guys that would go there and have their coffee and whatever, they would move so that I could sit on that shorter bar stool, and I would get chocolate milk and cinnamon toast every day. So
That's
it was
amazing.
the best deal.
That's
And it's Gray Bill, not Graybill.
I mean, depends on if you're from there or not.
If you're from there, it's Gray Bill, right?
No, it's Graybill.
Okay. Didn't know that.
I
It's
I
spelled-
have no idea.
Graybill. Graybill. Bill.
Little phonetics lesson here today.
Okay, thank you for that. Anyway,
Anyway.
so Amy, tell us about you. Kind of just a quick rundown from birth to now. No, I'm kidding, but just a little bit. Kind of what led you to where you are today. Those kind of things.
I mean, I feel like oddly it was like bred into me in my DNA or something.
Right, it sounds like it.
Yeah, so I had lots of family members that drove bus, and so I just rode the bus. I actually, when I graduated high school, I went to school for cosmetology, and I was working in a salon, and you didn't have health insurance. And my mom was like, oh, hey, if you come drive bus, you can get health insurance. So I started driving bus, and I got health insurance and did hair, and then I found out I really kind of liked it. So here I am.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Okay. How long have you been at Central Noble?
It was 1 year last Tuesday.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
the 11th.
Happy
Very cool.
anniversary.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary.
So give us a little rundown of your day-to-day responsibilities.
Ooh, yeah.
So, I mean, typically not weather included. I do not live super close to here, so I get up real early and drag my kids out of bed and put them in the truck. Usually they're making us late, so we're in a hurry. And
Your kids? No.
yeah, I know they're
That
darlings.
would not happen.
So it's about a 45-minute drive, and so we drive in. I normally get here, depending on the day and if there are drivers out or things happening. I usually try to get here about 6:30, especially if I'm driving a route or covering a route. I really don't have to be here until 7, and my kids go to daycare that opens at 7, so 7 is our goal. And so normally in the mornings I go in, check emails, just follow up on things, make sure I have my radio on in case anything happens. And at like 7:45, I go down to the campus in Albion, make sure that we are out there for any kids that are walkers and any kids that ride the shuttle over to the primary campus over here. And just make sure that the kids are safe there and check with drivers if they need anything, things like that. And then after buses are done in the morning, I go back. Usually if there's tape that I have to watch or kids that are new or moving or things that are different, we just make sure that they're assigned. Field trips are a big portion of the day, whether they're daytime field trips or sports field trips, getting those assigned, things like that.
What time does your day end typically?
Again, it depends on if I'm
I was gonna
driving
say,
or
on
not.
paper
So-
versus
I'm just sitting here listening to all the things
yeah.
that you do that are really even outside of just busing, you know.
Yeah.
and There's a lot.
Yeah. So usually like 4 o'clock is about end time on a typical day. If I'm driving, depending, bus routes aren't done always until like 4:30 sometimes. So
Just kind of depends. Do you have to, and we might ask this later, I don't know, but do you have to cover routes a lot? Do you feel like you drive a good amount or?
So I will say here, up until recently, no. But probably the last, I don't know, 10 years or so that I've been in school transportation, I've been like just a dedicated sub. Okay. I haven't had a route. The positions that I've been in the office helping on like administrative side. So I just fill in wherever needed. So
Awesome.
if I get in a bus, I mean, I don't ever know where I'm going, and I just drive and
Just wing it.
pick up whatever kids are standing outside.
I love that.
You
on
go
the
into
bus.
this school, get on the bus with us.
Okay.
It's fine. We're safe.
Okay.
So, yeah. Lately, though, we've had some drivers that have been out, so I've been driving more, but I don't mind it.
Awesome.
A lot of sickness going around.
Yeah.
So how do you make sure, again, with all the jobs that you do, hats that you wear, how do you make sure day-to-day things run smoothly? Because I feel like they really do run smoothly here at Central Noble when it comes to transportation. Now, again, that might be my perception, and you know a different
You
side
see
of
the
that.
backside of it, but from our view, it's great. We're
Yeah.
appreciative of all you do. And
Well, that's great, because then that means that I'm doing my job, because you guys shouldn't have any of the like, oh, what's going to happen? I should feel all of that. So there are times definitely where I'm like, oh man, like things are going crazy, and I might meet myself on the road because I'm trying to be everywhere. But typically I also have a background in, like, I was a 911 dispatcher. So from that point on, my whole look on life is, did anyone die? No. Then it's a good day.
Could be a lot worse.
So, yes. I mean, there you have, like, some real emergencies.
Right,
So here, I'm
absolutely.
like, it's a hiccup, and it's not great, but nobody died, and everybody's safe. So that's a win.
that's a cool perspective to have. I mean, that's awesome that you have that.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure it does put everything just in a different
Yeah.
perspective and helps you kind of manage the fires that you need to put out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, even on my worst day here, nobody died, so that's
Right.
good.
Right.
That's good. Yeah.
Except maybe a deer, but that's a whole nother story.
Well, that's
sometimes
only,
your bus drivers.
That's only when your principal gets behind the wheel.
We'll talk about that
Exactly. We talked
later
about that
in
last
this.
week, I
I think
think.
we did.
I still might have to pull that tape to see what the reaction was.
Yes, we need to
Yeah.
do that. It'll be
Yeah.
fun. Brad hit a deer.
Yep.
All right.
So, what are some of the biggest challenges in coordinating bus routes specifically? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of challenges everywhere, but how about trying to make sure you have drivers and kids and all the things? I can't even think about all the things.
So at the beginning of the year, obviously, that's when everyone is busy in school. I mean, all summer long, everyone in administration and the behind the scenes people of schools are always super busy. In June, in the summer, I kind of feel like I'm just like, okay, just waiting on somebody else to do their job so I can do mine. Once we hit registration, then I am like full on. We're making sure all the kids are assigned and things get done and nobody's missed. And then the parents call and they're like, oh, we had to change. So we switch that up. And there's times where I don't always get everyone told all of the pieces. The kids are where they should be, but
Right.
maybe not everyone is notified
Right.
in advance like I would love for it to happen. But really, I feel like I've just done this kind of chaos of school transportation for so long that it's just part of it. And
Right.
you just,
roll with it.
I mean, I'll drive home thinking, okay, this Friday I have a driver out, another driver that might have jury duty. How am I going to cover 2 routes when I'm one person? But I have a backup plan. So we got it. I just have to think of several different scenarios of ways that we can get everything covered depending on what happens. So.
Nice. Let's talk safety for a second.
Oh, yeah. That's a big thing with buses.
Big
Yeah.
thing, because I mean, our commodity is the kids and
Right.
getting them to and from school safely. What kind of things are in place, whether it be safety measures, trainings, to make sure that we get kids here safely every day?
So I will say here at Central Noble, I kind of fell into a really sweet gig. Our drivers are all really, really, really phenomenal about making sure that they are consistent and that they are teaching the kids about safety, not just telling them, but teaching them. This is what we need to do and this is why we need to do it. And I think that that makes a huge impact. Just last week we had kindergarten roundup here, and I know Miss C was out teaching the kids. I happened to go out there towards the end of it, and she was like out in front of the bus, and we stay out in front of the bus because if I'm your size, I can't see you if I'm driving. And those are things that we really need to tell kids. Isn't just, look, you need to go out in front of the bus. You need to go out in front of the bus because of this.
Right. This is why
Yes.
we asked you to do
And-
that.
So I think that that's a big thing, is that here we're teaching the kids and telling them why it's happening.
The why is always important.
Yeah.
How do you train drivers to handle unexpected situations? I mean, like a hitting a deer,
Hitting a deer.
or just if anything. I mean, I know some of those things you can't really just teach in
Right.
in a course
Right.
or training or anything like that. So how do you handle those kind of things?
So a lot of the time I will tell drivers, if something happens and you don't know what to do, stop and call me. I'll figure it out for you. You don't have to know how to handle every situation. And sometimes you don't know how to handle the
Right,
situations.
absolutely.
And sometimes you just have to make the best decision for the situation that you're in. And I feel very confident in all of our drivers' knowledge of what to do. And they all think about what's best for the kids and what's the safest for them. So really, you can't really prepare for everything. I know that I think about a lot of scenarios and situations that are sometimes really terrible, and like I try to go to like worst case and how would this happen or what would we do,
would you do? Yeah.
so that I'm prepared, that if a driver calls me, because really that's like my goal in this position is, I mean, because I'm a bus driver. When you break it down, I'm a bus driver.
Right.
But my job as the transportation director is to be a voice for the bus drivers and to represent them, but also have their backs. And when they're in a situation that they say, well, I don't know what to do, call Amy. And then she'll tell us what to do.
Right.
And that's kind of, I have always wanted that in a transportation director that I've worked for. So that's kind of what I want to be for the drivers that
Yeah,
Drive
that
for
makes
me.
sense. That's cool. I like that you're using your experiences to help
Yeah.
everybody else. That's awesome.
So, in your experience, have you had to deal with a bus accident? I know we had one here at Central Noble, I think 4 or 5 years ago. It was
Yeah.
kind of scary.
Yeah,
I've seen the video
of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen the video. It's
Yeah.
it's not.
Not
and
good, yeah.
she did amazing,
Yeah.
because I don't know, like, I don't know what would have happened. But yes, so it was probably 10 or 11 years ago. I was working, and my mom was actually the bus driver, and it was in February, and she had made a stop, and it was at a babysitter's house. So given the day, you could have 10 kids, you could have 2 kids, just depends on who's going to the sitter that day. And it was blowing snow, and she was watching the kids, and they had to cross the bus in front of her. She was watching them, and buses have kind of a toggle switch that you can shut your doors, but your lights stay on, so that when it's cold outside, you're not freezing with the wind blowing in. So she had hit that button just to shut the door, but leave her lights on as the kids were going across. And a first grade little boy had fallen asleep, and he woke up at their stop, and he come up to the bus, to the front of the bus really quick, and just zipped down the stairs, and she didn't see him. Well, when her doors closed, it caught his backpack in the door, and she didn't notice it. She had driven about a bus length, and he wasn't like caught in it. He was able to get free, but it was a terrible
That's
situation.
traumatizing,
And
Yeah.
it was my mom, so it's not like Brad, you called me and said, hey, I hit a deer, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
Right.
we'll take care of this. But when she had called in and said, hey, I need to talk to someone, our transportation director at the time she wasn't in the office, and I was supposed to be driving a bus. So I immediately went into fix it mode, and I was like, okay, someone needs to drive my bus because I have to drive hers because she still has kids to take home. She can't drive, so I'm going to. But meanwhile, as you're driving and you have these kids and you have to take them home, you're like, man, I feel bad. That's my mom.
Right.
I feel bad for
Right.
the kid.
Wow.
I feel bad for the situation. She felt terrible. She actually wanted to quit and was talked to and said, you can't quit because these kids look to you. You're their safety. It was an accident.
Accident, yeah.
And you need to go back and tell the kids that it's okay. So, yeah.
Wow. That's yeah.
Kind of gets you right in the
It
gut.
does.
Yeah, because
It does.
through the training, like I've seen the videos,
Yep.
a similar situation where a kid gets drugged for quite a while.
Yeah.
And that same thing where backpack got caught, driver doesn't see it, and you can't see that kid.
I was going to
Right.
say,
I
it's not because she wasn't paying attention
Right.
or anything
No.
like that. There's just
No,
And
it's
a lot of.
when they're little kids, I mean, a first grader, they're little. And if they're coming up and they're quick because they're nervous that, oh my gosh, I'm going to miss my stop.
Right.
So they just hurry down the steps. You don't see them even because you're watching
I was going
the
to say,
bulk
even
of
in
the
your
students
peripheral,
in front
they
of you.
probably
Yeah.
can't see them.
Yeah.
it's
So
tough.
I guess this is kind of a good segue into weather and road conditions and how all those impact transportation and your planning and Are you the one that
So,
checks the roads in the morning or how does that all work?
I'm not necessarily.
Okay.
So, when I came here, we had a previous mechanic, and he always checked the roads. That was just part of his gig. This school year, he had started it. Prior to that, it was our SRO, Dave Warman. He had done it. He was also in transportation previously, so I think that he just kind of continued with that. But Luke was checking the roads. Then he left in January, and obviously that's not a great time. And so I
I have to
said,
check the roads then.
yeah.
January might be the
so I
spring,
said,
yeah.
I'll check the roads. It's fine. I mean, I've done it before, and I know kind of what to look for. The downfall is that I am so far away.
Right.
But we have another mechanic now. He has a really phenomenal background to know what is and is not okay for kids to drive to school and what's safe. So he checks roads now. Luckily, he got through most of winter, and I did it. But yeah, I mean, if we delay, I will come in and then I'll go back out and check before we decide to go and just
Okay.
kind of drive. But it's a collective decision. I know I actually do not make that call. Andy, our mechanic, does not make that call. We call and give a recommendation to Robbie, the superintendent, and then ultimately he makes the call. I mean, obviously he takes our recommendation pretty heavily, but we also coordinate or attempt to coordinate with surrounding school districts as well.
Is there specific training that the drivers go through for winter and road conditions or anything like that? I don't know. I'm interested in it.
Not necessarily for winter and road conditions, but there is training that they go to. It's a 3-day class. It's an ELDT class where they go through and they learn a lot about safety and things that you have to do. And then there's so many hours that you're required to drive and observe and all of that. So.
I know, speaking from personal experience, when I drive extracurricular stuff and I've driven in the winter, that's my biggest fear is road conditions.
Absolutely.
I've not had a lot of experience on that, and it's so much different driving a big old yellow bus than it
Right.
is your car that
Right.
has
Right.
four-wheel drive or all-wheel
Absolutely.
drive.
Absolutely.
So the best advice is, I know, Brad, you know this, most of our buses have like an engine brake, so it'll slow down your engine so you don't have to apply your brakes. Shut that off if
Yep.
the roads are slippery at all. Just shut that off because your tires will spin a whole lot easier, and just go slow.
Yep.
I don't care how late you are getting somewhere as long as you're safe.
As long as you're getting there.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Absolutely.
What's the toughest part about working in a rural district like Central Noble? Like, we're pretty spread out, not a big metropolis. What's the toughest part about that?
I think part of it for me was just learning the area, which I feel like I have a fairly good handle now. But I think the amount of miles that we have to cover for the number of kids, like, that we're actually picking up on a bus. So sometimes, I mean, we have some buses that they cover a lot of miles and they may only roll into school with like 35 kids on their bus. Then we have some buses that they'll pick up kids like right in Albion and they roll in with 60 kids on a bus. And that's kind of hard, is trying to get that balance between number of kids versus length on a bus.
Right.
Man, I'm sure glad I'm not the transportation director. I'll just say that.
I
That's
don't
a
know how
lot.
she
But
does
we're
it.
so thankful for you and that you have the mind to be able to think of all those things and be there for everybody. That's awesome. We've really appreciated you being here and keeping our kids and our drivers safe. So,
Absolutely.
Brad, is it time for something right now?
It could be time for some rapid fire questions if you'd
Oh,
like.
thank God. I
Please.
thought it was going to be a hug.
Oh,
No.
that's
Nope.
at the end. That's
on Trolls. Hug time is only on Trolls.
First rapid fire question. How do you feel about
How do you
hugs?
feel the hugs?
Not
Terrible.
great.
Yeah,
Not
I knew
great.
that
It's
answer.
a no from me.
No hugs. for
Rapid
Amy.
fire time. This is our
Okay.
favorite part of the
Okay.
episode.
I love it.
Brad, you want to go for it, or you want me to start, or
You can start.
okay? What is your favorite school bus color other than yellow?
So here's the thing. I was prepared for this.
You
School buses are actually National School Bus Glossy Yellow. It's like a trademarked color.
Yes.
It's a whole thing.
Wow.
So there's a little token of knowledge for you.
Okay.
Carrie. But my favorite color outside of school buses is blue. I mean,
No, we're saying like if
Oh.
you had to pick a
Oh,
school
for a
bus
school bus.
color.
Okay.
I mean, thanks for telling us
If
your
we can
favorite
get
color
away
is
from
blue.
the
Like-
nationally trademarked glossy,
Glossy
yellow.
yellow.
So I think that, like, there are a lot of schools around here. I don't really know where they get this budget from. I kind of want to find out. But they have, like, those team buses. Those are real sharp looking. And I don't really care what color it is.
I'm going to tell you right now, my high school has a couple of those.
I'm not surprised.
Burgundy or maroon, not burgundy. Sorry, that's
Yeah.
here.
No,
Burgundy
I
or
am
maroon.
not surprised.
Yeah, you shouldn't be.
Yeah. DeKalb Eastern has a few of them. And, like, every time I see them pull, I'm like, dang.
Those are
Huntington North, they got a nice one.
Yeah.
cool. They're pretty cool.
Yep.
Pretty cool. Okay.
So really any of those. It doesn't
Okay,
matter to me what
okay,
color they are.
Okay.
I think it'd be really cool to have a huge cougar on the side of one. That would be like 3D looking coming out at you. That would be great.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Probably scare people off the road.
That's fine. Scare the other team. Make them go home.
I love it.
Majority of the time, do our buses run on time?
Yes.
That's funny because I thought they ran on diesel. Got that? Stuck that
They
zinger
don't
in.
actually. Some of them run on gas.
We do have some
Ooh,
yeah.
unleaded
She
buses.
got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
We do have some unleaded buses.
Snow day or delay?
For me, I say snow day because if it's a snow day and I have to come in early, I can go home early. If it's a delay, I still got to stay all day, even if I come in early. So,
Makes
and
sense.
on a snow day or virtual day, whatever we call it, we know our kids are safe.
right.
regardless.
Exactly.
Right. We don't have to
Exactly.
question of,
Yes.
is something going to happen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Best bus driver snack.
Okay. It depends on if you mean like a snack for when you get where you're going or a snack when you're going down the road.
I'm talking mid-drive, something you need a snack on.
Okay. I would
Or
say
is that
like,
not, are you really trying not to
you're going
snack
to
while
want
you're
something
driving?
that you don't really have to like get a lot of. So like a mint, gum, something that you can just like have for
Okay.
a while because you don't want to be looking around for a
That's
snack.
How about when you get there?
I mean, there are some drivers, they take like a whole spread.
I've
They
seen
take
that.
like a cooler.
They
and
got the
yeah.
picnic basket
Yeah.
and the tablecloth, the
Charcuterie
napkins,
board.
Yeah.
charcuterie.
Some, like, we have a driver that drives just sports strips for us. She has, like, a chair, a blanket, extra sweatshirts,
Yep.
a pillow.
Exactly.
I was like, dang, you can, like,
She's
go camping
prepared.
for the weekend.
Gotta
You're
be
going to turn
camp-
this into a schoolie and just
Gotta
camp
be
out.
comfy.
Yeah.
Prepared. Have you ever had to run behind a bus before? Like to catch up to 'em?
Physically run.
Have you ever
I
had to run behind a bus?
try to avoid physically running at all costs.
Well, I'm glad
However,
because,
I did run twice today.
Well, I'm glad you haven't because you would have been exhausted.
See what we did there?
See where that came
Let's
from?
That
see.
was, I was
We've
really
been
just
really-
thinking
we've been
Brad
wa-
was going to do
We've
these.
been waiting the whole time to just
Okay.
throw those in there.
Craziest thing that you've either found on the bus or that's been left on a bus before.
Oh, please give us something
it be good.
Please let it be good.
Okay, last year, different school that I worked at before here, we had a bus driver that had siblings, third grade girl, kindergarten boy. The kindergarten boy took something to school for show and tell. It was his mom's.
Uh-oh.
And she did not know about it. So the school sent it home in an envelope with third grade sister to get back to mom.
Oh, bye.
Third grader gets on the bus and says, I don't know what this is, but I'm not taking it home to my mom. So the bus driver came in and said, I need that mom to meet me at the stop in the morning. I have something very delicate to hand to her.
A personal
specifically."
situation for the
Yeah,
mom.
yeah.
Wow.
Wow, that
That's
That
unusual.
was like, that probably,
That wins the prize.
that
right there.
beats
Sure does.
the
Sure
crumpled,
does.
ripped up $1 bill that we found today.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you found money? I never
ripped
found
up
money.
only 3 parts of a $1 bill, so not going to get us much.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Okay, favorite type of music to play on the bus?
Well, I will play probably whatever the kids ask me to play within reason. But I do think if I ever had to like play a song, I have thought about this a lot. That song, I would walk 500 miles. Yep. And then when the kids got on, I'd be like, ba-da-da, ba-da-da-da, and tell them to go
You
sit
would
down.
be an awesome bus. If I had to ride a bus, I'd want her to be my bus driver.
She's a fun bus
I get that
driver.
a lot.
Sorry, Brett. I don't think I'd want to ride with you.
She's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
She's good
beating you.
GPS too. She
Yeah,
she
that's
went out with
true.
me on a route this
Yeah.
year and got me where I needed to go. So
We kind of talked about this, bus rider or car rider growing up. You were kind of both, but
Yeah.
kind of bus rider.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I rode a bus, not even to school, just around.
yeah. So did you ever miss the bus?
Yes. I've missed the bus as a bus driver also. So,
Ooh.
I mean, I didn't necessarily miss a bus. I definitely overslept. And
You missed the bus.
yeah.
Yep,
That's
yep.
my fear on a Saturday trip or something. You got to get up at 7 o'clock
Yeah.
and
Nope, you're
I'm
gonna miss the bus.
Be getting a call
Yep.
from Amy going, "Why are you not at the school?" And yeah,
Yep.
scary. Ever get in trouble on the bus?
yeah, lots of times. My mom
For-
was my bus driver.
Oh,
Yes.
not
I was
good.
the example of what she would want to do to other kids, but couldn't.
But couldn't.
But-
So she did
but
it to you and
could-
showed them.
yes.
Yes.
Brad, have you ever gotten in trouble on the bus?
So I don't remember a time on the bus, but I do remember a time where I was following one of our buses too close as a high school driver, and the bus driver knew who it was back there following too close, and I was
Why were you
flirting
following?
with a girl.
Okay.
Flirting with the girl, kind of
Never
waving
ends
and
well.
smiling and combing the hair when I had it, and got home and she had called my dad and said,
yikes.
"Tell your son to back off my bus and
Oh.
be a better driver."
I'm
And
gonna guess Dad wasn't too happy with
Dad
that.
was not impressed.
Yeah.
So I think I might have lost some driving privileges for a while.
Then did
Yeah.
you have to ride that bus?
Um,
That wouldn't have been a punishment. You could
no,
have
I
ridden with
think
the girl.
That's true.
I think somebody was able to he let me go with somebody else, just not me driving my car. So that would not have been cool.
And now you're a driving instructor.
And now I'm a driving instructor,
And a bus
telling
driver.
people not to follow buses so close. So
Well,
there you go.
It always comes full circle, doesn't
circle,
it?
yes.
Circle. Yeah. Well, Amy, thanks for being here today.
Absolutely.
And, I mean, we could talk about transportation, I think, for a long
We
time.
could probably tell some more bus jokes too,
Yeah.
but we will refrain.
We might have to have a
Yeah.
Transportation 2.0 episode.
We
or
would
something.
love
Maybe.
to. You've been
Yeah.
a great guest.
Bring a driver in. That would be
Oh,
fun.
Yeah.
we already have one here.
Well, we do, but like
Yeah.
a route driver. Like, those are the real drivers. I'm
Those
just
are the
a-
real things.
Well,
just,
you have one that works here in your building.
We do.
We would bring her in.
Mrs.
She's
C.
wonderful.
Have to get
Yeah.
shout out to Holly Chenoweth. We'll have to get her
Shout
on the
out.
pod sometime.
Shout out.
So
Shout out to all the bus drivers, though, honestly, for all you do for our kids, keeping them safe, getting them to where they need to be every
Also,
single day.
if you want a part-time job, come be a bus driver.
shout out
Okay,
to
shout out
CNC Transportation.
It's really
Transportation.
great. You can volunteer for your kids still in their classroom. You get paid to go watch them in their sporting events.
Do you get a T-shirt? Could
You
they
get
get a T-shirt?
You
I
get
got a
something
hoodie.
every
I
I
year.
was going to say,
Yeah.
I think they get a sweatshirt at least
I
sometimes.
gave them all little baskets of things at Christmas too. So
Folks, don't
is where it's at.
walk, run for this opportunity
Not a
right
bad
now.
part-time gig.
Okay.
So, any final thoughts, Amy? Favorite part about working in transportation?
you really so I know that it's been said multiple times before. Almost every bus driver says this, but as a bus driver, you see the kids on your bus from kindergarten until they start driving, sometimes all the way through high school. Kids don't have that same person all the way through school. And bus drivers, when it's like an illness, when you are a bus driver, you're locked in and you're not going anywhere for a long time.
Yeah.
So they really do stick with the kids. And I will not all bus drivers are this way, but the ones for Central Noble are beyond dedicated to showing up, making sure that their kids have the same driver and that they can rely on them every day. So they're really, really awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We do have good bus drivers and a great transportation director.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right, let's cue up that music, Kylie.
Man, and again, wow.
And
How are we
hit the
already
30-minute mark today.
I know.
That might be the longest episode yet, but it felt so quick.
It was great. Thank you, Amy.
Good things happen. Yeah. Tune in again next week. We're coming at another episode. You want to tease that a little bit there, Kylie?
Do I? This episode.
It's going to be fun.
We're excited.
Sorry, little glitch there. Tease that next episode.
So, the next episode, it's going to be a good one. It's called The Episode About Nothing.
So what's it about?
Nothing.
What are we going to talk about?
Exactly. We're leaving it at that. You just have to wait and see. It should be good, though.
Should be great. Awesome. All right, with that,
Class dismissed.